business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play. The one story where you can't get out of your head.
So Erika, like where you're sitting, no zongo kono bata face so personal moon.
Music Afro music
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Hello and good evening. You are watching NEWSPLUS right here on ZTN Prime. It is a Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Faith Nyaude. Here's a quick look at stories that are making the headlines tonight. Today, the president met with Zimbabwean Cosmas Zazavaza, who is the director of the Telecommunication Development Bureau with the ITU. Zavazava is seeking a second term and is in the country to present his bid. Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube has scrapped the controversial foreign currency cash withdrawal tax following intense pressure from the public and Parliament. We give you more on that story in our look at business. The late national hero, retired Brigadier General Mark Chiles Chingwaza, has been described as a disciplined and dedicated servant of the nation who played a key role in the liberation of Zimbabwe. A funeral parade was held at Charles Gumbo Barracks in Harare today in his honor. And in sport, Zimbabwe's men and women's netball teams look back on a fruitful year after clinching silver and bronze medals at the African Netball Cup in Malawi. We're bringing that and more when we take a look at sport. In our top story this evening, today President Emmerson Mnangagwa met with the International Telecommunications Director for Telecommunications Development, who was in the country to seek support for his second bid for the directorship at ITU. Speaking after his meeting with the president, the director commended Zimbabwe's digitalization drive, stating that his organization will support the country in integrating its digital system, as ICT is now core in driving development ecosystem. This is part of the International Telecommunication Union's program of ensuring universal, affordable digital skills toward development.
During the discussion with His Excellency, we were discussing the integration of all the sectors in digital, so that digital is at the center of driving the ecosystem, and the great progress that Zimbabwe is making in terms of infrastructure development, regulatory and policy frameworks, as well as innovation and entrepreneurship. And our support, of course, Zimbabwe has benefited from a plethora of projects that we are rolling out. So we have had a very good discussion. There is great commitment. And we just returned from Azerbaijan, Baku, where we adopted a very ambitious program that is focusing on universal, affordable rolling out of skills and digital platforms, as well as creating an enabling environment so that investors can come and invest, and also encouraging international cooperation.
The Minister of ICT, Tatenda Mavetera, welcomed the International Telecommunications Union's continued support to Zimbabwe's ICT programs. She also confirmed Zimbabwe's support for candidature as director for a second term.
And again, we're also grateful because of the work that I2 has done, and him coming here and is just really reaffirming his commitment to Zimbabwe's telecommunications development is very critical to our development in the telecommunications sector. I2U has assisted us in various initiatives, especially our acceleration center, which we have, which develops artificial intelligence. It has also assisted us to have a disaster management office here in Zimbabwe. And these are very, very important to the development of telecommunications. So him coming here, he came to meet His Excellency, just also get the commitment by His Excellency of his support for his second bid to become ITU director.
Now, in other news, the late Brigadier General retired Mark Charles Chimwaza has been described as a resolute and unyielding icon of military professionalism who refused to bow to the desires of the country's detractors.
The late Brigadier General Mark Charles Chimwaza has been described as a dedicated and a patriotic cadre who served his country wholeheartedly. The nation is mourning following the passing on of Brigadier General Chimwaza, who died on December 11 at his squadron home after a prolonged battle with lung cancer. He was 68 and survived by his wife and 3 daughters. In recognition of his role in the liberation struggle and national development, President Emerson Mnangagwa has conferred him national hero status. His body is today lying in state at his squadron home as mourners pay their final respects. At a funeral procession held at Charles Mbo Barracks, Zimbabwe National Army Commander Lieutenant General Asha Hauta Tafumani described him as a disciplined and dedicated servant of the nation. Known during the struggle as Paddington Chafa Chawora, Brigadier General Chimwaza retired from active service in 2022, leaving behind a lasting legacy of sacrifice and service.
He left a legacy in the organization, which is very difficult to kukopa. Munhu akanga akazvipira. He has been an icon and a prototype commander in the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. His exceptional loyalty and patriotism towards his beloved country reminds us how lucky we are as a nation to have a generation of officers and commanders of the caliber of the departed Brigadier General.
Lieutenant General Tafumane said General Chimwaza's sacrifices should not be forgotten.
Ndoziva kuti pavana vadiki mazuva ano pane vanoti ko varungu vacho maimborwirei kuno mamashatiriswa nei inga varungu vakanaka wani sei makatanga imimi kubva matora futi kuenda unoridzira vanhu inga isitoswera navo tinotaura navo wani. We lived the life yemurudhisha nekushungurudzwa kwemunhu mutema muno nekuzosvikira vakuru vedu vafunga kuti kutozvipedza chete kutora gidhi ndozvakatiendesa kuhondo nana brigadier vatiri kuviga panapa nasa.
His brother Edmund Mareka Chimwaza said the late Brigadier General was an unpredictable character.
Muna August wegore rakazonyora foto ndopa akabva azozvipira chaipo chaipo kuenda akwenda hana munhu wakadini wakataurisa zvakazoita apedza kunyora form 4 yake isusu takangotambira trangi chete netsamba yanga iri mukati nemagumbezi nehembe dzake akati vanhu we shungu dzangu dzandaigara ndichitaura dziya ndafunga kuti dzazivisa musatye henyu tichazosangana kana Mwari achiti.
No mission is impossible until one drops. And heroes never die, but they live forever in the hearts of those who follow in their footsteps. Latu Onyangu for Seated Prime at Charles Gumbo Barracks.
Meanwhile, the late Brigadier General will be buried at the National Shrine in Harare on Saturday. In a statement, the Ministry of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage said President Mnangagwa will preside over the burial ceremony. Gates to the National Shrine will open at 6 a.m. and mourners are expected to be seated by 7 a.m. Members of the public are invited to come in their numbers to give a befitting farewell to the illustrious son of the soil and a dedicated patriot. Now, in a major step towards strengthening national health security, Vice President Kembo Mohadi this Thursday launched the International National One Health Strategic Plan, a long-term framework designed to address health risks at the intersection of people, animals, and the environment. The strategic plan also provides a roadmap to addressing interconnected health challenges through a whole-of-government and a whole-of-society approach. Our reporter, Talent Gore, gives us more details.
Vice President Kembo Mohadi says the government has refocused its efforts on rolling out comprehensive strategies to strengthen Zimbabwe's health sector at all levels. Addressing stakeholders at the launch of the Zimbabwean National One Health Strategic Plan 2026 to 2030, Vice President Mohadi says the success of the blueprint depends on an integrated approach.
The National One Health Strategic Plan does not just prioritize the health of our people, animals, and the environment, but also ensures that available resources are efficiently utilized through collaborative efforts.
He said the strategy's holistic framework will help safeguard public health, protect livelihoods, and build resilience against growing leakages between people, animals, plants, and ecosystems. According to the strategic plan, the initiative seeks to strengthen collaboration across sectors to combat endemic and emerging zoonotic diseases, other infectious diseases, antimicrobial resistance, and health risk linked to climate change.
The nation's journey to a prosperous and upper middle income society is only possible when the country embraces collaborative strategies and approaches that ensure that available resources are used effectively for a healthy nation.
The plan also aims to close key gaps within Zimbabwe's health system, including weak institutional coordination, limited infrastructure, inadequate funding, and low research and development capacity. Acting Health and Childcare Minister Professor Paul Mavima said the adoption of the One Health Strategic Plan signals the government's commitment to addressing complex health threats. Professor Mavima said the strategy promotes coordinated, science-based and sustainable interventions.
Government is committed to breaking down institutional silos, aligning policies, sharing information, and acting collaboratively to prevent, detect, and respond to health threats and their threats.
The implementation of the One Health Strategic Plan is expected to enhance disease surveillance, strengthen cross-sector collaboration, and improve Zimbabwe's capacity to respond to current and future health challenges. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Talent Gore in Harare.
Later on in the day, Vice President Kembo Mohadi proceeded to Nut Farm for the handover ceremony of 8 mobile outreach clinic vans and minibuses, where he highlighted the government's commitment to bringing health services to lower tiers of community and to provide everyone an opportunity to get assistance. The Vice President said the vehicles must be used responsibly and must be deployed to marginalized areas.
We realize that you guys in town and cities got all the facilities, but our rural mothers there and our rural folk, they don't have these facilities. So instead of them coming into urban areas to access health facilities, we need to take the health facilities to them.
The mobile clinics are designed to improve equitable access to health facilities around the country, especially for pregnant women. The World Bank acting country manager reaffirmed the World Bank Group's commitment to support Zimbabwe's health delivery.
Let me end by affirming that the World Bank Group remains firmly committed to supporting this government's effort to build a healthier, stronger, and more equitable future for Zimbabwe. We are and we will always remain a very steadfast partner to Zimbabwe.
Now, in other news, Zimbabwe and China have further strengthened their long-standing economic cooperation with the signing of letters of exchange for the China-aided upgrading and maintenance of irrigation schemes. The project is expected to boost agricultural productivity, strengthen climate resilience, and improve livelihoods for smallholder farmers across several provinces. Eben Mabunda has more.
The government of Zimbabwe and the People's Republic of China signed letters of exchange for the upgrading and maintenance of 9 irrigation schemes across 6 provinces. The project is being funded through a Chinese government grant under the Economic and Technical Cooperation Agreement. Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion Minister Professor Mthuli Ncube welcomed the support, saying the irrigation project aligns with Zimbabwe's National Development Strategy too.
We will exchange letters for the upgrading and maintenance of irrigation scheme project, which we financed under the Economic and Technical Cooperation Agreement, which was signed in June 2019. The agreement also funds the drilling of 300 boreholes, the Junkao Technology Assistance Project.
Professor Ncube said the agreement demonstrates government's commitment to climate-smart agriculture and sustainable economic growth. He noted that expanding and modernizing irrigation infrastructure is key to reducing reliance on rain-fed agriculture, enhancing food security, and empowering smallholder farmers in line with government's Vision 2030.
Under the policy consultation project, the People's Republic of China has been supporting Zimbabwe through a range of capacity building initiatives, including assistance in the development of special economic zones, state-owned enterprise reforms, a policy formulation aligned with our NDS2 National Development Strategy 2.
China remains Zimbabwe's largest source of foreign direct investment, with close to 500 new Chinese businesses registered in 2025 and projected investments amounting to $2.5 billion. China's ambassador to Zimbabwe, Zhou Ding, announced that bilateral trade is set to surpass last year's record of $3.8 billion, while zero-tariff access for Zimbabwean exports to China is expected to unlock new industrial and employment opportunities.
This year, our bilateral trade continues to grow and maintain this strong momentum, which is poised to surpass last year's historic record of US dollar 3.8 billion. In June, China officially announced the zero tariff treatment for export from all 53 African countries, including Zimbabwe.
Ambassador Zhou said the project reflects the deepening all-weather partnership between the two countries, particularly as China and Zimbabwe mark 45 years of diplomatic relations in 2025.
Today's signing ceremony marks another milestone in our close partnership. The irrigation project funded by the Chinese government will upgrade and renovate 9 key irrigation facilities across 6 provinces in Zimbabwe. It is designed to unlock greater productivity for smallholder farmers.
Government says the irrigation upgrades will enhance food security, increase rural incomes, and strengthen climate resilience, particularly for smallholder farmers. Authorities have reaffirmed their commitment to ensuring timely implementation and maximum impact of the project as Zimbabwe continues to leverage strategic partnerships to drive sustainable economic growth. For ZTN Prime, Eben Mabunda, Harare.
We still have more news and updates for you on NEWSPLUS when we come back. Stay with us.
Una kutenga mbeu akuditsu mbeu kwayo iri kuvhari Parazai wakapaparika achiramba tenga mbeu kuvhari akanotenga dzakakangwa nzungu tenga mbeu akuditsu rumbe mfuru akamerera nzungu dzaramba kumera chibage chaakatenga changa chakapendwa nechoko chakatumbuka chiri mumabvi kuri yacho semabanana akanokohwa nebhasikiti mabhasikiti mana paega una kutenga mbeu akuditsu mbeu kwayo iri kuvhari akanotenga masosori achinzi mbeu ndekabeji akanotenga mhodzi dzenyeve achinzi mbeu nderepi una kutenga mbeu akuditsu mbeu kwayo iri kuvhari ane mbeu dzakauchikwa dzemhando dzakasiyana mitengo yachoka yakaderera gohora choka rakakwirira fohondis foamdi akuru manzeve ndewambo una kutenga mbeu akuditsu mbeu kwayo iri kuvhari una kutenga mbeu akuditsu mbeu kwayo iri kuvhari una kutenga mbeu akuditsu mbeu kwayo iri kuvhari
Mwaka uno tenga mbeu yako ku Valley Seeds usimudze goho rako. Valley Seeds vauchiki vembeu yechibage yepana nePioneer goros ma-traditional grains nema-vegetable seeds ose anopa goho repamusoro-soro. Valley Seeds, where farming meets the farmer.
Welcome back. You are still watching NEWSPLUS. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, Egypt's new ambassador to Zimbabwe, Dr. Maha Mustafa Kamel, has said historical relations between the two countries are on a brighter horizon that can change the course of history for a positive trajectory in diplomacy, trade, multilateralism, and cultural cooperation. Speaking to Zim Paper's politics reporter Gibson Nyikadzino, Dr. Kamel reinforced the need for continued mutual cooperation between the two allies to boost bilateral ties.
Right after independence in April 1980, Egypt was one of the first countries to recognize the independence of the Republic of Zimbabwe, to establish diplomatic ties with the country. As you may know, we opened the embassy right at that time, and since then our relation has been excellent, be it on the international level, the continental level, or the regional level. Of course, not only politically, our bilateral ties are excellent, and we are coordinating and working together on several international issues. Zimbabwe and Egypt, we continue to support each other's in international organizations. We support the candidatures of each other in international positions, in international organizations and regional ones as well. This has always been the case, and we continue to build on these.
Now let's talk about power. CISA Holdings has announced a stable power supply outlook for the December festive season, projecting minimal load shedding due to key interventions, including improved plant availability at Wange and Kariba power stations, supported by independent power producers. The increased domestic generation will be augmented by additional energy imports from the Southern African power pool market, while reduced industrial demand during the holidays is expected to further ease pressure on the national grid.
We project a stable power supply environment this December with minimal system constraints and load management. This positive outlook is largely due to key interventions, the most significant being anticipated improved plant availability at Wange Stage 1 and 2, and also at the Kariba power station. With this capacity, it will be supported by supplies from independent power producers. This increased domestic generation is augmented by securing additional energy through imports from the Southern African power pool market. Furthermore, we expect reduced demand resulting from industrial shutdowns, which will ease pressure on the national grid. These efforts are expected to reduce the supply shortfall, leading to minimal load shedding during this festive period. During this period, there are various forms of domestic tourism, people will be traveling, and they need power. And also, we are aware that the Generality of Zimbabweans, the nation, will be rallying behind the national soccer team during the Africa Cup of Nations that will be held in Morocco. And we assure the nation that we have put in place mechanisms and mitigation measures to ensure that there is minimal load curtailment.
Meanwhile, Energy and Power Development Minister July Moyo has urged rural communities to prepare for rural industrialization and transformation as solar projects continue to gain momentum across the country. Speaking during the tour of the 153-kilowatt Mzimbe solar project in Makoni South, which is being implemented by the Rural Electrification Fund, Minister Moyo encouraged villagers to use the incoming energy to strengthen irrigation-based agriculture, develop village business units, and enhance school income-generating projects.
The rural transformation that is going to be taking place at this place called Mzimbe, you must plan in such a manner that you do agriculture better than what you were doing through irrigation. Those who are doing village business units, that's what this is all about. The schools around here must start thinking about the school business units, but young people must start thinking about the issue of rural industrialization by creating avenues where they can use the electricity which is here. After all, when we put a situation like this, we want users.
Now, we are slowly encroaching into the festive season, and over the years, this season has brought families to many families, but it has also come with a deadly trend of rising road traffic accidents and fatalities. In a bid to save lives ahead of the holidays, the Zimbabwe Republic Police in Harare, working with the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe and the ZRP Transport Liaison Committee, took the road safety message directly to the streets today. Tafaras Bochiwe has more details.
For many families, the festive season means travel, reunions and celebration. But for others, it has become a season of tragedy. Road traffic accidents continue to claim lives, especially during holiday periods. Determined to change this narrative, Harare traffic police officers ditched their usual stern approach, opting instead for direct engagement, talking to motorists and pedestrians where it matters most, on the streets. Working alongside the Traffic Safety Council and the Harare Transport Liaison Committee, Harare Central Traffic Officer in Charge, Chief Inspector Lawrence Mandaza, issued a stern warning against boarding illegal Mushikashika vehicles, reminding the public that safety must always come first. Pedestrians were not spared from the message, with cases of people being knocked down on the rise. Authorities say careless road behavior is costing lives. Harare Transport Liaison Committee Chairperson Sydney Musiwa expressed concern over pedestrians who jaywalk while wearing earphones, often unaware of approaching vehicles.
So we encourage people to be aware of their surroundings, to cross and tinotenderwa tisakwire mishikashika because pamishikashika ndo parikutsika vamwe uchida kukwira motikari kana wangozvimirirawo mapurisa akangokubudirawo nevamwe vanhu vemutemo vakabudikira neoko vakomana vari ngosimudza mota vachisika vanhu patinokrosa pasiri pamazebra crossing.
Public transport operators who carry thousands of passengers daily were identified as key players in preventing road carnage. ZUDAC spokesperson Reason Ajida urged drivers to respect traffic laws, stressing that every decision behind the wheel carries lives.
Ndoti kune mi madrive, please koshesai upenyu hwevanhu. Musanakirwa nokuda mari kana nokuti ndibate target. Tarisa motikari yako usati wapinda parwendo. Vhiri rangu rakanaka here? Zvinhu zvese zvinoita here kuti ndinge ndichitakura vanhu? Fambai nespeed inobvumirwa. Please my drivers, koshesai upenyu hwevanhu.
Authorities are urging pedestrians and motorists to put road safety first in this festive season as the road safety campaign takes to the streets of Harare, a timely reminder that responsible road use can save lives. Tafas Kuchu, for ZTN Bank in Harare.
Now, authorities in the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure Development today commissioned an expanded Norton Toll Plaza. The facility has been dualized to tackle traffic congestion, improve road safety, and modernize the country's transport infrastructure. Authorities in Road Infrastructure Development also announced that all toll gates in the country will receive the same facelift.
Motorists enjoyed a happy hour at the Norton Toll Plaza earlier as they passed through without paying any toll fees. This was courtesy of the Ministry of Transport and sponsoring partners who covered the cost of the free passage as they were ushered into the dualized structure in what was an early Christmas present.
Thank you for the happy hour, Tadarika Mbahara. And then secondly, for an Nodarika toll gate, it's a very busy toll gate, so at least it's going to decongest the traffic. Considering that it's holiday season, it means kuti traffic ichange chifambo zvakanaka.
Anya dualization iraitika inoita kuti traffic dzisawande muroad. Especially hanya yekuti pabhadhara mahara toll gate dai rambodzikawo futi mbichana. Richiri kudhura. Kasi aiwa dualization bo.
The government believes this ease of movement on the roads, especially on a major highway like the Harare-Bulawayo route, has a direct impact on economic and national development.
I want to thank our great leader, Comrade Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, our visionary leader, who has been championing the issues to do with infrastructure development. And the idea behind is for us as a nation to modernize our infrastructure. And I'm happy that this is the narrative that we are running within the Ministry of Transport.
This new development is expected to reduce congestion, which had long become a challenge at the Norton toll gate. The project also marks the first step towards all electronic tolling in the country, a system allowing vehicles to pay tolls without stopping.
Road iri very busy. Zvokuti taiona mamotarisi vazhinji vaitora nguva vechita queue kupfuura, asi zvino taona kuti the short time yavhurwa toll gate mamotarisi vari kufara, vamwe vakuenda nekuku, vamwe vakuenda nekuku. Uyezve nenyaya ye-tolling toda kuti iyoyo i-encourage kuti vanhu vese kuti va-avoid nyaya ye-corruption inobva yavoidwa futi uye quick service inoitika.
The tollgate transformation program is continuing across the country, with Juri and S-Bank among the infrastructure set to receive a facelift.
Next year, early next year, you will see us going to Dema. Dema is already under construction, it's almost 60% now. Then from Dema, you will see us going to Juru. It's also starting, we've just done the Dito. The construction will start early in the year. Then we'll go to S-Bank and Skyline, all the major toll gates that exit Harare.
The commissioning of the toll plaza marks the government's dedication to merging technology, fostering economic growth and enhancing public safety within the nation's road infrastructure. For ZTM Prime, I am Satachi Siwagwaza in Norton.
Now, in other news, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission has removed over 6,000 names from the voters' roll as part of its routine voters' registration maintenance exercise. ZEC says the move is in line with the provisions of the Electoral Act, which require the Commission to continuously update the voters' roll by removing names of deceased persons while also accommodating newly registered voters. The Commission says the process is lawful, transparent, and ongoing. We spoke to the Deputy Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Ambassador Rodney Kiwa, earlier today.
That is a process on the part of us as registrars of voters. So the law requires us to continuously update the voters register, particularly when we are approaching by-elections or annual elections. So this should be taken as a normal thing. We need to continuously update our voters register by removing those who have passed on and by also encouraging our citizens to register to vote. And when they've done so, we upgrade our voters register voting.
Now, Zimbabwe, in partnership with Indonesia, is strengthening livestock production through a strategic artificial insemination program using Indonesian breed straws. The move is set to significantly boost the national cattle herd, improving cattle genetics, productivity, and promoting climate resilience. Speaking during a courtesy call by an Indonesian delegation on the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Indonesian ambassador to Zimbabwe Arif Hidayat said the program represents a mutually beneficial partnership between the two countries. He said Indonesia is committed to supporting Zimbabwe's livestock transformation agenda through innovation and skills transfer.
We start with the donation program of the 1,000 frozen cement given to the Zimbabwe, and then continue with the dispatch of our expert team to Zimbabwe, just to follow up the training program in Indonesia and monitoring the result of the implementation or execution in Zimbabwe. So again, we found a very strategic channel for both countries to further cooperations. The first goal is how Indonesia share our innovation and technology. This is one thing. Number two, based on the South-South cooperation, that Indonesia is the one of the initiators globally for the South-South cooperation.
The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Professor Obed Jiri, held the partnership, saying the genetic improvement has significantly improved livestock performance. Professor Jiri said the improved breeds are climate resilient and have helped farmers address the high feed costs, which account for over 70% of the livestock production costs.
By revising some of the budget proposals in the 2026 national budget, government is showing that fiscal policy is not static, it evolves through engagement. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Minister Chachkubo in Harare.
And also they can survive better on foot and mouth. We also, in terms of pastures and feed, they also come with better feeding regimes. So the cooperation is really fruitful. We started last year, and already in this second round that they visited, they've gone to see some of the progeny and offspring of the cattle that were artificially inseminated last year. So they've started to see the offspring, and they're quite happy with it. They've assessed those offspring in Maswingo, in Matopos, and at the Midlands, and they're quite happy with the outputs of the efforts of artificial insemination.
Now, we do apologize for the lack of proper sound when that clip did start playing. NEWSPLUS will be back shortly. Stay with us.
Festive is here, Shah. First Street lights up, and suddenly the vibe is back. It stretches from Harare to Hollywood, even to Old Trafford. Je sais, Gilles festive. All I want this festive season? The stories that keep us hooked. The ngoma, the rhythm, the laughter, the drama, the goals, the world-class entertainment that brightens up the holidays for the whole family. All I want is DSTV.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Plus. Now we take a quick look at news from beyond our borders. The rebel movement M23 has announced its exit from the strategically important city of Uvira in eastern DRC. This reportedly comes at the request of American mediators in the conflict between the M23 and the armed forces of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The rebel movement, M23, announced on Wednesday that it had agreed to a request from U.S. mediators a day earlier to withdraw its forces from the city of Uvira in eastern DRC. The M23 has been fighting Congolese armed forces in the region for the past year in a brutal conflict that has killed and displaced hundreds of thousands of civilians. The M23 says that its withdrawal is happening for the sake of peace, and reports confirm that their troops began leaving the town voluntarily. Now, the withdrawal is reportedly set to be completed by the end of today. In Jamaica, the United Nations say the damage and losses from Hurricane Melissa could cost Jamaica up to $15 billion. This comes 50 days after the tropical storm made landfall on the Caribbean island. 50 days after Hurricane Melissa made that landfall, authorities are now assessing the damage it left behind. The human impact has been severe, with 45 deaths reported and more than 600,000 people affected. Hundreds of people are still living in shelters, unable to return to their homes. Melissa was the third most powerful Atlantic storm on record and left a trail of destruction across the Caribbean, including in Haiti and Cuba. Now, the UN says damage and losses from Melissa could reach $15 billion, nearly a quarter of Jamaica's gross domestic product. Sweden's Prime Minister has said that he will stay all night if necessary, adding that they must have a decision on Ukraine funding as he arrived for the European Council in Brussels today. European leaders are set to debate the European Commission's plan to use frozen Russian assets for a $140 billion reparations loan for Ukraine amid huge divisions within the bloc. Belgium, where the assets are held, and others have warned of the impact of investor confidence, the need for risk sharing, and questioned the legality. Italy, Belgium, Malta, and Bulgaria called for alternatives to be explored, while others, like Hungary and Slovakia, have highlighted the need to end the Ukraine conflict rather than fund more weapons, as well as ongoing corruption scandals in Ukraine.
Långsiktigt ekonomiskt stöd också i en situation där vi hoppas att kriget håller på att ta slut. Det är den stora frågan idag. Ingen annan fråga kan jämföras med detta. Det är en mycket stor framgång att vi har frusit fast tillgångarna i ett beslut redan. De kan alltså inte försvinna tillbaka till Ryssland. Nu är frågan om vi också kan använda de ryska tillgångarna för att finansiera Ukraina långsiktigt. Pengarna tar slut i Ukraina i början på nästa år, så det här är en helt avgörande fråga. Min bild just nu är att det är helt öppet. Det är helt oklart.
The ongoing border clashes between Thailand and Cambodia have inflicted a heavy humanitarian toll on Cambodian communities, with soldiers killed and families left in grief and financial uncertainty. Border clashes between the two countries have reignited since the 7th of December, less than 2 months after the two sides signed a joint peace declaration, with both trading the blame for instigating the attacks. According to Cambodia's Interior Ministry, as of Wednesday, the total number of Cambodian civilians killed in the conflict had reached 18, and the number of injured had risen to 78.
I can't describe how much regret I feel over losing my beloved husband. Our family depended greatly on him, and now we are uncertain and confused about what the future holds. I understood his duty to protect the nation, and I only wish that he could have had the chance to return home.
I was never able to contact him while he was on the front line. The last thing he said to me was that he was unsure whether he would ever make it back home. After that, we lost contact until I was informed that my husband had sacrificed his life. He told me there was not enough food and that his illness made it hard for him to walk.
And now we take a look at what's happening on the business front.
Is your company reshaping Zimbabwe's future? Have you launched a groundbreaking product, a revolutionary service, or transformative technology? Zim Papers calls on you to nominate your innovation for the inaugural and prestigious Zim Papers Innovation Awards 2025. This is your platform, your moment to gain national acclaim and showcase how you are moving Zimbabwe forward. Don't just be an innovator, be a vanguard of progress. Nominate yourself or a deserving company now at innovation.awards@zimpapers.co.zw. Nominations close on 30 December 2025. Zim Papers Innovation Awards 2025, championing the ideas that move us forward.
This is AFCON, my friend. Everything is the competition. Everything.
So here they come for the opening game, and away we are here at the African Cup of Nations.
Join our family meeting from the 21st of December to the 18th of January. Purchase a decoder for $30. AFCON 2025, live on SuperSport.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, when I look at business news tonight, Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube has scrapped the controversial foreign currency cash withdrawal tax after intense public and parliamentary pressure. The tax was originally proposed as part of the 2026 finance bill to reduce the migration of money out of the formal banking system, strengthen transparency, and broaden Zimbabwe's tax base. Our business reporter, Melissa Chachkobo, gives us the finer details.
After days of heated debate among policymakers and business leaders, Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube announced in Parliament that the cash withdrawal levy will be removed from the finance bill. A move many say reflects the government's willingness to listen. The reversal followed lobbying from lawmakers and the public, who warned that the tax would burden citizens and drive more transactions into the informal market. The proposal had introduced a levy on foreign currency withdrawals, a measure Treasury had defended as a tool to promote electronic transactions and reduce money laundering. It's not only the measure under review. Treasury says that by the first quarter of 2026, there will be measures to reduce costs in the financial services sector.
We have asked the banks through the Reserve Bank governor for them to reflect on that and see if there are certain charges that they could lower, certain concessions they could make to the banking public. So we've given them time.
The minister also showed willingness to review royalty structures in the mining sector after industry players raised concern over compliance costs.
The issue has been just to see how Zimbabwe, from the large-scale miners, can participate in the sharp increase in the gold price that we've seen. So we've come up with this tiered arrangement in terms of royalties. And at the current gold price, which is below 5,000, even the large-scale miners will still pay the 5%.
Economists have welcomed the repeal and revisions, describing them as a positive sign of policy flexibility, one that builds confidence in the financial system.
Removing those withdrawal charges will actually help the banking system because it creates a banking culture where businesses and individuals are not intimidated by exorbitant withdrawal charges. And it's important to note that if people start banking, then it means banks will have a large propensity to lend.
By revising some of the budget proposals in the 2026 national budget, government is showing that fiscal policy is not static, it evolves through engagement. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chachkobo in Harare.
Still in business, Zimbabwe's 2025 national budget placed strong recognition on diaspora remittances as a vital and growing source of foreign currency that continues to strengthen the economy. The budget shows diaspora remittances reached $2 billion in the first 9 months of 2025, rising from $1.9 billion over the same period last year, representing a 12% increase for the full year. Remittance inflows are projected to exceed $2.7 billion in 2025, with further growth expected to be around $2.8 billion in 2026. Now, remittances account for a significant share of Zimbabwe's total foreign currency inflows, reinforcing foreign currency availability across the economy. These inflows continue to support household incomes, consumer spending, and access to foreign currency within the formal financial system.
By revising some of the budget proposals in the 2026 national budget, government is showing that fiscal policy is not static, it involves shrinkage. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Minister Chatkulo in Harare.
This population usually...
Apologies for that technical error once again. You are watching News Plus. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us. A quick look at what's happening in entertainment. The inaugural Bulawayo Music Fiesta taking place on Friday is set to bring together some of the country's hottest acts, including Fab G, Black Diva, and Insimbi Zezwane. The event, taking place in the heart of Bulawayo at the City Hotel, will be hosted by Mr. Jaiva, while DJ Kito, DJ SKB, and DJ Ajax take charge of decks, promising a vibrant, non-stop musical experience. Still in arts, Zimbabwe's creative and cultural industries could soon be repositioned as a key economic driver following the development of new policy proposals aimed at expanding market access for artists. The recommendations are crafted during a policy advocacy for creative entertainment session, which brought together art stakeholders and government officials from across the country. The proposals call for stronger institutional support, including mandatory government procurement of creative services, a national accreditation system for artists, and the creation of a unified body to represent the sector. The policy framework also pushes for greater international visibility through cultural attaches and cultural centers abroad, while strengthening domestic platforms through the enforcement of local content quotas. And now for some sporting action. Now, in our look at sports tonight, Marion Marinica now has the full complement of his Warrior squad following the arrival of European-based players in Morocco ahead of the African Cup of Nations. Players that arrived today include Bill Antonio, Tawanda Chirewa, Tawanda Maswanise, Andy Rinomota, Brendan Galloway, Jonah Fabish, and Munashi Garananga. Sean Fusire was expected later on in the day. The Romanian gaffer spent 3 weeks without 8 of his regulars who are based in Europe due to the new FIFA player release protocols. And now, with 4 days before Zimbabwe plunge into the AFCON battle with an opening fixture against Egypt in Group B on Monday, the former Malawi coach now has his squad firm on the ground. Still in sport, Zimbabwe's men and women's senior national netball teams are looking back on a fruitful year following a successful outing at the African Netball Cup held in Malawi. The men's team, the Golden Flyers, returned with a silver medal, while the women's side, the Gems, claimed bronze. We get more in this report.
Zimbabwe's senior netball teams achieved a rare double at the recently concluded African Netball Cup in Malawi, with both sides returning home with silverware. The women's senior team, the Gems, continued their resurgence with an impressive third-place finish at the Continental Showpiece in a season that also saw them move a place up in the world rankings from position 13 to 12. The men's team, the Golden Flyers, claimed the silver medal after falling to defending champion South Africa in the final. As the year winds down, the netball fraternity has plenty to celebrate, with the nation's top teams once again proving their quality on the international stage. Gems coach Ropafadzo Mtsauki expressed his delight at the team's progress, saying that the steady improvements point to bigger ambitions, which include making an impact at the World Cup once more.
Izvozvo zvinofadza zvinotaridza kuti kana tikaramba takashinga tichiprepare zvakakwana tinokwanisa kusvika tinokwanisa kuqualify World Cup nekuti aim ndeyekuti timu iqualify kuAustralia 2027 ndo patiri kunyanya kuvavarira, but so far timu iri kutamba zviri nane zvine maresults.
Mutsauki also praised the sports development pathways, citing the example of James shooter Tandazile Ndlovu, who was named the player of the tournament, as proof of a traceable and effective talent development system.
Program yema players kusumuka pano itakusvika azosvika ku senior team ndo zvakaita saTandazile akabva mu under 20 under 17 21 achikwira izvo zvezvo zvinoita kuti tione kuti munyika medu tine plan inoita kuti tive good players.
The Golden Flyers secured a silver medal for the second consecutive time at the tournament in 3 appearances. The team underlined their consistency and enduring quality as they finished the year as the second best men's netball side on the continent. The achievement feels even more significant for a team that has often competed under difficult conditions, with most tournaments self-funded due to limited sponsorship, and yet continues to meet the intensity of top-level men's netball and excel.
Men's netball is different from the ladies. In the ladies, you know, teams like Lesotho, Eswatini, they are weaker teams. But with men, it's different. Every competition that you go, every team that you meet, it's a very different game and it's a tough game. So I think with men's netball, you have to be very prepared for every competition. Because if you go there thinking that you're going to meet a weaker opponent, definitely you'll be surprised.
Looking ahead to 2026, both teams have set their sights on new targets, with the Zim Gems set to begin their qualification campaign for the 2027 Netball World Cup in Australia, while the Golden Flyers continue their fight for greater prominence on the continent.
Now, still when I look at sport, Zimbabwe's Popoma Sports Academy won a bronze medal as the CAF Girls Integrated Football Tournament ended at Ngoni Stadium this afternoon. Mposa, who were the country's representatives, crashed Zambian side Aguila Girls 4-1 to secure home honors in the tournament won by Mamelodi Sundowns in the second edition of the tournament. The Bulawayo-based side put up a solid performance throughout the tournament, with striker Chieza Kumalo top scoring for the side with 7 goals.
Yes, as I always say, give credit to the girls because they struggled, but they maintained according to our game plan. There was a time when we were off about 30 minutes, but I kept on telling them, don't change your game plan, that whatever that we have agreed is what we are going to take. And then now the condition of the pitch, we need to change other things in terms of technique and other tactical ways of approaching the game. But I think the girls played as the way how we had planned the match. Yes, Chiesa is good. She's good. I think keeping her scoring makes her to be a top person, top striker. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her. She's clever. The second goal, all that came from being clever. Yeah, she's a good striker.
Now, the tournament was launched earlier this year in the Kekava region before spreading its wings and has been held as a key driver for developing talent and offering technical and administrative support for participants.
Yes, this is a great tournament. I think for the development of football, I think there's a lot of talent that we saw here in Africa and Zimbabwe, all countries who were participating. There's a lot of talent which needs to be nurtured. I think everyone who is here, who is responsible for these girls, will go out there and support these projects, especially the clubs that are taking care of these kids, because we don't want them at the end of the day to say, there was that girl who was playing that tournament in Ngoni Stadium. Where is she now? Because of lack of funds, lack of developmental aspects, part of it, she ends up not playing football.
Well, that's all we had for you on News Plus this Thursday evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, we're talking festive awareness and festive safety as we are approaching the Christmas period. We are discussing that on The Chase, so don't go away. Stay with us.